Hey, what is up guys? Today we're taking a look at the GameToys Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Soldier First Class Zack Fair 1/6 scale figure. So let's take a look at the packaging, then we'll take a look at the figure. Stay tuned guys. Okay, so here's the front of the packaging, and I've got to say, the packaging for these GameToys figures are super simple in design. All we have is the VII emblem on the front, and down here Zack Fair Soldier First Class GameToys 1/6 scale collectible figure. And here's a side of the packaging, and the back we have some more logos down here. And this is everything that comes with the figure. So we have the brown shipper, the outer packaging, and in here we have a spare pair of arms which are made out of plastic. And we have the sword for the second class soldier. And right over here we have a spare head sculpt, which is a really nice head sculpt. I'll give you guys a look a little bit later on. And down here we have the spaces for all the hands. And here's the figure of Zack Fair himself, displayed with the Buster Swords, the display stands, and the Benora Whites. And down here we have some instructions on how to move the figure. So that's a look at the packaging and the accessories. Let's take a closer look at the figure. Okay, and so here we have the figure of Zack Fair, Soldier First Class. And guys, I've got to say, this is such an amazing piece. This is probably my favorite GameToys figure that they've made from Final Fantasy VII. It's just such a perfect figure. I can't find any single flaws on this figure whatsoever. I mean, it's got a perfect sculpt. I love the accessories that come with the figure, and I love the paint job. It's just, you know, a really amazing piece, and I don't think GameToys could have done a better job on this figure. But yeah, as you guys can see, I've got the second class head sculpts on the figure with the Buster Sword, which is the first class. So yeah, not exactly accurate, but this is my favorite look of the figure. I just love this head sculpt so much. I think it looks a lot better compared to the first class head sculpts. And I'll give you guys a look at how the figure stands next to the Playarts Kai Zack Fair figures a little bit later on in the review. Okay, so let's take a look at the head sculpts of the figure. And guys, just look at this head sculpts. What an amazing piece. This is by far the best head sculpt that I've ever seen on Zack Fair. I mean, I just don't think they could have done a better job on this piece. But yeah, I love the paint job. You can see the eyes are painted a very bright blue, almost green. And the lips are painted a very light pink with a bit of gloss painted over them just to make them shine in the lights. And I love the paint job on the face. It looks very clear, and there's even like a bit of skin texture on the face, which is, you know, really nice because it makes the figure feel a bit more realistic. And here's a look at the hairpiece, which has some pretty nice sculpting. You can see all the strands of hair sculpted in there. And it is painted black, but you can see different tones in there, like almost grey and browns in some area, which is really nice. And of course, I'll give you guys a look at the first class soldier head sculpts a little bit later on. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite head sculpt that comes with the figure. It's just perfect in my opinion. Very, very nice. So let's move down here to the body piece of the figure. And as for the rest of the body, it's got real clothing. As you guys can see, it's, you know, real material. And here's a look at the shoulder pads on the figure. And as you can see, they've got a super nice texture, like a very rough texture, almost metallic. It looks really nice. It's got a very nice black paint job in there. So here's a look at the arms. So these arms are made of rubber, but as you guys seen before, he comes with two pairs of arms, one made of rubber and one made of plastic. So basically the main reason for these rubber arms is just to make them look more realistic because they don't have any joints. But if you want to display the figure with his elbows bent for a long period of time, then you want to display the figure with the plastic arms because it won't split the rubber. And here's a look at the hands, holding this amazing Buster Sword. And check out all the detailing here. All the engravings, all the carvings, and gold textures in the handle piece. It's so nicely done. And we even have some materia embedded into the Buster Sword. So we have a red one and a green one, which both are removable. You can take them out of the Buster Sword if you really want to, but it definitely looks way better with the materia inside the Buster Sword. And you can see all these lines, all these, you know, engravings in the sword itself. It's also got a very nice texture. As you guys can see, it looks very metallic, like real metal. It's not completely clean. We have bits of battle damage in here, like many scratches and nicks and dents in the swords. So here's a look at the waist of the figure, and we have this piece of armor, which is made out of a soft piece of plastic, so it's kind of bendy. And right below we have these real working belts and buckles, which look really nice, and I think they may be made out of real leather. And moving down here to the legs of the figure, as I mentioned before, the clothing is made out of real material, like real clothing. And here's a look at the boots, which have some nice detailing. You can see the zip in there. And here's a look at the blue apple, the Benora whites, or the dome apple, whatever which way you guys want to call it. But yeah, it's got some pretty nice detailing there. You can see we've got a bite taken out of the apple, probably by Zack, and it's got some nice paint jobs too. It looks quite nice. It is painted a very dark blue, but we have some light blue painted at the top, and we even have the stalk and the leaf sculpted at the top right there. And here's a look at the display base of the figure, which has the Zack Fair name plaque. And here's the back of the figure, and we have a nice look at all the sculpting work on the back of the hair. And as you guys can see, we have a brown wash painted over the tips of the hairpiece, which just make them pop a bit more. And here we have the back of the shoulder pads and the strap. It actually looks pretty realistic, but of course, as I mentioned before, it's entirely made out of plastic, just made to resemble leather. And here's a look at the hand holding this amazing buster sword. So here's how the handle piece looks and the materia. So as you guys can see, the materia looks a lot different from the back than it does on the front. If I just give you guys a look, so here's how it looks on the back. We have this little green peg piece, and here's how it looks on the front. So yeah, it looks a lot different because on the front we don't have the peg piece. We just see the materia bedded into the swords. But from the back you can see the green peg piece, which doesn't look that great. And here's how it looks from the side. You can really see it from the side. But anyhow, here's a look at the rest of the back of the figure. So we have the hands and the back of the trouser piece, and the display stands, and the boots. And just in case you guys want to check out the side of the figure, so we have a nice profile of the face. You can see all the nice sculpting work, the hairpiece, and the earring sculpted into the ear. And here's a look at the side of the face. Yeah, never get tired of seeing this head sculpt. It's just such a great sculpt. And moving down here to the shoulder pads and the arms and the hands. And here's a look at the rest of the body. The hand holding the buster sword, which goes all the way down here. And here's a look at the legs, the boots, and the dome apple. Dome apple for dummies. But anyhow, that's the side of the figure. Okay, so here's how the figure looks, displayed with the plastic arms and the soldier second class sword. And I've just got all the pieces for the soldier first class right here. So here's how he looks with the plastic arms, which don't look that great. But as I mentioned before, if you guys want to display the figure with his elbows bent for a long period of time, then you have to display the figure with these arms. Otherwise, these rubber arms, they will most likely split and, rip at the elbow. So yeah, highly recommend you guys display the figure with these plastic arms if you guys want these elbows bent. And here's how the sword looks. So now, the cool thing about the sword is that it's actually die cast. It's made of metal, and it looks really, really good. It's also pretty heavy. It doesn't bend like plastic, so it's kind of, it's a little bit dangerous, the sword. It's a little bit sharp. So I just want to give you guys a full comparison on all these pieces for the soldier first class and soldier second class. So here's a look at the soldier second class sword at the top, which is die cast. And the bottom, we have the buster sword, which is made of plastic. It would have been super heavy if it was made out of metal. But anyhow, moving down here, we have the Benora whites. And here we have a comparison on the plastic arms versus the rubber arms. So as you guys can see, Plastic arms don't look that great, but the rubber arms, they look really good. They look super realistic. And here's a little side-by-side comparison on both of these head sculpts, in case you guys want to check them out. Which one do you guys like better, the Soldier First Class or the Soldier Second Class head sculpt? Let me know in the comments below. And here's how the figure looks displayed with the Soldier First Class head sculpt. And yeah, such a great head sculpt. I mean, I do prefer the Second Class head sculpt a lot better, but I would say the sculpting work here and the paint job is just amazing. And it looks really good. So, you know, depending on what head sculpts, what the Soldier Class you guys prefer, you can display the figure with the specific head sculpts and weapon. But yeah, this one definitely looks really good. Once again, he's got the eyes painted blue. He's got the scar on the side of his face, which is a pretty iconic trait of the character. And here's the back of the head sculpt, just in case you guys want to check it out. So we have this mullet type of hairstyle. Not the best hairstyle, but I really think it suits Zack Fair a lot. So here's a close-up on the side of the face. We have a nice profile. Once again, we have the earring sculpted onto the earpiece, and we have this super iconic scar on the side of his cheek. And here's the side of the face and the front, and here's the other side with this strand of hair. Okay, so here's a quick comparison on the PlayArts Zack Fair next to the GameToys 1/6 scale Zack Fair. So let's take a look at what we have here. So first up, we have the original PlayArts Crisis Core Soldier First Class Zack Fair. So yeah, this is a very nice figure. It's a pretty old figure, and this is a pretty rare piece. This is probably one of the rarest PlayArts figures that I have in my entire collection. There was a time when this was the only PlayArts Zack figure ever made, and so that's pretty much the reason why this figure became so rare. This was before, you know, they made the remake Crisis Core Zack Fair figures. So yeah, I would say this is easily one of the rarest PlayArts figures ever made. Very, very nice piece. Next up, here we have the GameToys 1/6 scale Soldier First Class Zack Fair. It's a really great figure, and you know, it's so much better compared to the PlayArts I mean, I still love the PlayArts figures, but this one is just, you know, it's on a whole different level in terms of quality. We have real clothing, we have die-cast sword, you know, rubber arms. It's just such a massive, massive improvements. Yeah, such a great figure. Very, very happy with how it turned out. And here we have the Crisis Core Remake Reunion Zack Fair. So this is the Soldier Second Class, which is probably, I would say, my least favorite Zack Fair figure out of my collection. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a pretty nice figure, but just something with the head sculpt doesn't look right. I think the original Zack Fair head sculpt looks way better compared to this one. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Anyhow, the rest of the figure is pretty good. We have a nice sculpt, nice paint job, and I love the swords. So yeah, that's a quick look at the PlayArts Zack Fair next to the GameToys. I will make a full comparison review, so if you guys want to check it out, then it will be on the channel. But for this video, I just thought I would give you guys a quick look. So I hope this quick comparison helped. Okay, so let's take a look at the articulation for the figure. So first up, I just want to take out the Buster Sword out of his hand, just to give you guys a look at how you dismantle this piece. So basically, you take off the tiny little handle piece right here, and you take off the main Buster Sword, and it just kind of fits into place like so. That's pretty much it. Okay, so let's take a look at the articulation. So as for the head sculpt, we have a ball joint in there. Pretty nice range of motion. So these are the rubber arms I've got onto the figure. So let's take a look. We have these, they're almost like ball hinge joints. They go out to the side, they go up and down. We have a nice, like, almost like a ball hinge joint at the elbows. These arms are also very stiff. They feel, you know, very tight, which I think is probably a good thing since they're made out of rubber. And as for the wrist, we have a peg joint in there, so they kind of rotate. So inside the body piece, so now the rest of the body is made out of plastic. It's only the arms which are made out of rubber. So it doesn't seem like we have too much articulation in here. We pretty much just have a ball joint inside the torso piece, but it's a super tight joint. You can barely move it in there. And same goes for the waist. We have a ball joint, once again, very, very tight. Let's just get the figure off the display base for the moment, and we will take a closer look. So as for the hips, we have these large ball joints in there. And as for the knees, we have a double hinge joint, so we get quite a nice range of motion, as you guys can see. And as I mentioned before, the whole clothing piece is made out of real fabric material, so it's very soft. And at the foot we have our ball joints. So yeah, that's a quick look at the articulation for the figure. So that was a look at the GameToys Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Soldier First Class Zack Fair 1/6 scale figure. So guys, this is a really amazing piece. I would say this is probably one of the best Final Fantasy figures that GameToys have made. Without a doubt, it's probably the best Zack Fair figure that I've ever seen in my life. So I mean, if you guys are a big fan of Final Fantasy VII or of Zack Fair, then I highly recommend picking up this figure. You guys will not be disappointed. You will be super happy with this figure. Anyhow guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the review and I hope it was helpful. If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these Final Fantasy VII videos. Thank you guys for watching, have a great day, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy guys.